Okay, so here we have some chopped okra, some fresh shrimp that I just peeled and cleaned, some onions, some green pepper and some red pepper, a lemon, and a small amount of garlic, some fresh tilapia, some chicken that has been cut up into little chunks, and some strawberries, mango, and banana. The seasonings that I'll be using will be parsley flakes, ground paprika, garlic salt, seasoned salt, and black pepper. Okay? For the okra, I'm going to be using this big pot right here. Back there in the medium pot, I have on some rice, and the skillet is for the fish and the chicken. Okay? I guess I'm going to go ahead and get started on the smoothie because that needs to be chilled, and I can go ahead and put that in the blender, mix it up, and put it in the refrigerator. Okay, so in the bottom of this blender, I have a little bit of yogurt, strawberry flavored, light non-fat yogurt. My hands are clean, just washed them. So I'm going to go ahead and add the strawberries, the mango, and the banana that I have chopped up. And I'm going to add some orange juice. Okay? And I'm going to add the top, and I'm going to go ahead and turn this on. It's going to be really loud, so I'm going to go ahead and stop recording, and I'll come back when it's all blended. Okay, there we go. There you have it. I'm going to go ahead and pop this in the refrigerator, and we'll move on to our shrimp, chicken, okra, and fish. Okay, so in this big pot, I have put about 2 tablespoons of canola oil. And I'm going to go ahead and switch this around to cover the entire bottom of the pan. And while that heats up, I'm going to go ahead and bring over my onions, my peppers, and my garlic. Now, this is going to be the base for the okra and shrimp that we're making. And in addition to that, I'm going to need some salt. I'm going to need some garlic salt, some seasoning salt, and some black pepper. That sounds like a lot of salt, but it's really not when you consider the fact that you're going to be using all of the okra. It's about 4 packs of fresh okra. I'm going to go ahead and give this rice a stir. It's almost done. But I think this is about ready. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just pour all of that into the bottom of the pot. Now, the reason I'm doing the okra first or second is because this is going to take the longest to cook. And because this is going to take the longest to cook, I went ahead and put the shrimp, the chicken, and the fish in the refrigerator. Now, while this is doing its thing in the bottom of the pan, I'm going to make sure that most of the liquid from my okra has either been dried off or evaporated. A lot of people say they don't like okra because it's so slimy and it gets in your mouth and it's real gooey and it doesn't really have any texture. But one mistake that a lot of people make when cooking okra is, number 1, putting it in the pan wet, and number 2, cooking it with the top on before it has a chance to kind of cook all that goo out of itself. Now, this is starting to sizzle, and I'm going to go ahead and let this cook down for about 2 minutes. So stay tuned, and next we will add our okra. Okay, so as you can see, this is kind of cooked down and these flavors are blending really well together and it just smells awesome. I wish you guys could smell it. But what I'm going to do now is add the okra in layers. And the reason that I'm adding it in layers is because, or not really layers, but not all at once, is because I want to season it as I go through. Because when you put the seasoning on top of something, you really don't get the full flavor that you're going for all the way through your dish, in my experience. Some people may do this differently, but this is the way I like to do it to ensure that I have that flavor all the way through. So all I'm doing is adding the 3 salts, the seasoning salt, the regular salt, and the garlic salt, and my black pepper to that first little bunch I put in. And now I'm just giving it a stir. Make sure I mix it in well with those vegetables that I had cut up. And I'm going to go ahead and add some more. And it's, like I said, it seems like I'm putting a lot of salt in here, but I'm really not, because this is a lot of okra. And you also want to make sure that when you put your shrimp in, your shrimp has something to draw flavor from, because you want the two to complement each other well. I didn't tell you guys how much of an onion I used or how much pepper I used, because I really didn't measure it. I guess I used about a half an onion, and I just cut out a chunk of the red pepper and the green pepper and used it. I used about a clove and a half of garlic, and that was it. And this is the last bit going down in there. And we're going to let this cook for about 20 minutes, but you're going to want to keep an eye on it, because if you don't stir it, it will stick or burn to the bottom. I use non-stick pans, so that means that it will burn more on the bottom than it will on the top, or get more done on the bottom than it will throughout the rest of the pot. So make sure you keep your eye on it and just stir it through every once in a while. Oh my gosh, this smells so good. After this has cooked down for about 20 minutes, I'm going to put a top on it and reduce the heat. Now, by putting that top on it, I'm going to lock in some of that moisture, because I'm going to be putting raw shrimp in here. So I'm going to need a little bit of moisture. But after we put the shrimp in, I'm going to take the top off to let it dry. But this okra takes about 45 minutes to cook. But I'm going to go ahead and cook it without a top for about 20-25 minutes so that it's not slimy. Oh my gosh, doesn't that look great? Okay, so this is what we have thus far. This is the okra, the garlic, the onion, the red pepper, and the green pepper, all sort of smothered down. It's been cooking without the top for about 20-25 minutes, and as you can see, it still has some of that gooey, texture to it, but it's not wet. Like, I've seen people who cook okra and it looks like they just boiled it in water, which is so wrong on so many levels. But because it's in this bigger pot, it's going to retain moisture, because there's heat is escaping, but there's still a lot of room for it to escape from. It's like really technical, but this has been cooking for about 20-25 minutes, and it has a real nice color, and oh my gosh, it just smells delicious. I'm going to put the top on it for about 20 minutes, and then I'm going to add the shrimp and let it continue to cook. Alright? Okay, so this has been cooking for about 20 minutes with the top on, and what I'm going to do now is add some of the shrimp that I seasoned. I seasoned it with some ground paprika, some pepper, and a little bit of garlic salt. And I'm going to just add about half that shrimp to this. I'm going to do something else with the rest of this shrimp that's left over, but a little bit more than half, about 3/4 of that shrimp I'm going to add. And I'm just going to mix that in there. And what's going to happen is, being that that shrimp is raw, the moisture from this okra and the moisture that is that's coming from the shrimp is actually going to cook the shrimp along with the heat under the pot, or the heat of the pot. Shrimp cooks very quickly, so it's not going to take long for that to happen. So I guess I'm going to take this phone call, and when I get back, this shrimp should be done.